We will smurf soon. TSM wrath will be swift. All these peasants thinking we aren't good. LMFAO! I have to try my own interpretation. Welcome everybody to the LCS recap. If you enjoy any part of the show, do consider liking me on the different social media things. Otherwise, we're going to talk about the LCS, talk about the picks we made last week, talk about how the week happened, and then preview next week and talk about that. And, you know, we have tier lists and stuff too. So all that's going to be in this nice little package. Do enjoy the show, and let's just get started. Alright, let's take a look at the standings. Look, Team Liquid's got a loss. There's a number in the loss column that isn't 0. They split their week, going 1-1. Cloud9 become that second place team, now 6-2 after a 2-0 week for them. FlyQuest now sit at 5-3 after their 2 wins, and Team Solo Mid now in 4th place with a 4-4 record after their 2-0 week, being the team that beat Team Liquid. Other 4-4 teams, they split their games. Counter Logic Gaming 1-1, Echo Fox 1-1, because again, they don't lose 2 games in a row. Rush doesn't lose 2 games in a row. It's not a thing. It's just not a thing that happens. 100 Thieves, disappointingly, go 0-2. Now sit with a 3-5 record. They share a tie 7th place with the Golden Guardians, who split their games at 1-1. And the basement here, the 9th place teams, Optic Gaming and Clutch Gaming, now both sit at 2-6 after they have lost both their games. So how did the games actually go? We can look at it by game. First of all, I went 7-3 in my pick, so pretty decent after I started the first day 5-0, and then, you know, looking a little bit scary in day 2 as I lost a bunch of games in a row. But overall, weekend mostly went how I thought it would go, minus obviously some big upsets in day 2. So let's talk a little bit game by game. Team Solo Mid versus Optic. Team Solo Mid looking like they're supposed to now. I think TSM is the team that they're supposed to be now. And that's not even before the Team Liquid game. I just felt like, yeah, they're just beating this Optic team. Who Optic, you know, they actually played pretty decently. It was actually like just a solid game overall, but Team Solo Mid do take that one. Team Liquid do beat the Golden Guardians. They look a little fragile in this one. I think 9.3 is a really interesting patch. I didn't actually touch too much upon that, but even if I backtrack a little bit and talk about Team Solo Mid, I think 9.3 is a good patch for them. This should be a good patch for Team Liquid as well. You kind of would expect that, but they're actually being a little slow to adapt, and apparently in scrims it's not completely going their way, so worrying trend for Team Liquid fans, but makes the whole split more exciting now. We like Team Liquid being vulnerable. But anyway, Cloud9 win their game against Echo Fox. FlyQuest beat 100 Thieves, and 100 Thieves, you know, keep kind of looking a little bit sadder there. And with that Cloud9 game, as I mentioned before, Cloud9 just looking like a solid team. Licorice is looking like the best player in the league. We've been talking about Licorice being the best top laner in the league. He might be the best player. He's got MVP votes in my brain. My brain's got MVP votes as we are sitting now halfway through this season. Split, rather. So yeah, FlyQuest. Just looking like a good team still. They beat 100 Thieves, and 100 Thieves just looking a little bit worrying. Counter Logic Gaming dismantle Huni and Co over there in Clutch Gaming there, so they win that week. A lot of that going a lot like expected. So day 2, a little bit more of an interesting day, I suppose. 100 Thieves do lose to Echo Fox because, again, Rush doesn't lose 2 games in a row, and 100 Thieves look pretty disjointed now, which is pretty frustrating. Onda looks really bad. Specifically, I have a lot of questions about Onda right now, and maybe that was the biggest question mark coming into the season in general anyway for this team. Huhi is average at best, and yeah, Onda has just made a lot of questionable decisions that really hurt them in this game. Makes 100 Thieves look really bad, and I was talking about this with Globus, who we did the preview show together, and he says like, oh, I think Onda's really good. He's just, you know, he's having bad things. So like, I don't know, I'm not really seeing it, and to be fair, I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't watch a lot of the 100 Thieves games at Worlds, and he was saying Onda looked like he was smurfing, like he was the best player on the team, but it's what it is. CLG's loss to Golden Guardians here disappoints me a little bit in CLG. I think they had a pretty poor draft and kind of made some poor decisions in this game, and then Golden Guardians end up taking that one. Golden Guardians looking great over here. They end up winning that game. They split their series course, they lose to Team Liquid, but again, you can't really blame teams for losing to Team Liquid. Except the next game here is Team Liquid losing to Team Solo Mid, and of course this was the game of the week. This was the hypest thing. You got Doublelift going against his former team again, but you're like, yeah, but looks like TSM's not really all there. Yeah, they beat Optic yesterday and all that, but Team Solo Mid having a lot of mid-game problems, and Team Liquid being the team that was like takes over in the mid-game from there. And in this game, though, it just didn't go that way at all. You had the bot lane doing pretty decently, but Broken Blade looking like he's smurfing. Like, Broken Blade, I think last week I was a little bit critical of Broken Blade, but still kind of hopeful, and he's really putting it together. And again, I really think this 9.3 meta is something that's going to be very good for this team's solo mid team. They had a bad read on 9.2, and I think they have a good one on 9.3, but so far, again, it looks like Team Liquid just doesn't. FlyQuest continue rolling on. They beat Clutch Gaming because Clutch is bad. I don't know, tell anyone that's Clutch Gaming hopeful who's a Huni fan or anything like that. They're not very good. That's that. Cloud9 then wins against Optic Gaming. Optic Gaming I want to speak a little bit about too as well in general. Their intended starting roster are now 0-4, so I expect some changes, but it's so hard to kind of pick where they're going to slot stuff out. Like, Meteos hasn't looked bad, but maybe it's just the synergy isn't really there. Maybe they do need that Dardoch who's got like a couple wins under him. Maybe they go that route again. If they want to flex a 10-man roster, I think it's time for them to try it again. Try Asta even in the bot lane again. He looked really good, and Arrow just isn't. So we'll see how that kind of goes. We move on to our tier list. Over into our next little category over here. So the big changes here, I moved CLG down, and mostly because they go 1-1, and I really wanted to see a 2-0 week from them. They beat, a bad Clutch Gaming team, but they lose to Golden Guardians, who I actually moved up on the list, because even though they're behind them in the standings now, and they're in that 7th place, currently out of the playoffs kind of spot, I believe just with the way they're playing, they're going to be able to get it done there. Golden Guardians looking like they're kind of starting to clean up their play, and CLG kind of moved down, just kind of by default for that. Echo Fox actually kind of moves up, because I would still put them over Golden Guardians, even though I wouldn't, like, I don't think they really showed me anything, so they didn't really move up because they showed me anything. Just right now, I would put them over Golden Guardians, just with a bit of consistency, consistent inconsistency from them. It's so weird. There's Saturdays they just look awful, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a bad. They're gonna finally go 0-2. This is the bad week for them, and then they kind of keep it together somehow. So that bit of uncertainty, I sit them at a playoff spot, but I could see CLG taking that over. But at the same time, I just have concerns over CLG, even though, like, if you were watching last week, I was like really hopeful at CLG, but they keep kind of flipping that, and it's so hard to place these teams. This Echo Fox, Golden Guardians, CLG, those teams are almost kind of interchangeable there. Of course, I kind of move up TSM, still in the middle tier, but kind of just like bump them up a little bit on that half, so they stay at the middle tier. And yeah, the top stays the same, Team Liquid and Cloud9. Obviously, TL loses one game, you're not automatically bumped from this list. We'll have to see kind of more of the face-to-face. Makes me really excited for the coming weeks of the LCS. It could be really good. And I still place Clutch Gaming and Optic at the bottom. They've kind of been there since the very beginning. There was that, obviously, after week 1, I was like, oh, maybe Clutch is actually a decent team. Maybe I could put them in the middle tier. But since then, they've played kind of like I thought they'd play. Well, actually, not even. That's not even completely correct, because I think Huni has been specifically so bad. He's been solo killed in a lot of games, and it's really, really frustrating. And then Optic just have too many question marks. Keep saying that. They have so many question marks. I don't know who they're going to play. It's hard to, like, rank them, because maybe their best potential roster just hasn't been found, and so it's hard to judge on the performances that we see on stage without seeing scrim results and all that to really, really judge that team. But because there's all these question marks, they sit at the bottom. So let's move on to what we think about week 5 coming up. I pick record 24-16. Let's see if I can keep that going. This is actually a really hard week of picks to make, so let's go over it game by game. Optic versus 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves gotta win here, right? You just gotta believe they have to win here. They have to be better than this Optic team that have all those question marks that I mentioned before, and we'll see if they can kind of pull that together, because they at least have a consistent roster. And I don't know if Optic's going to change things up, and maybe that the change will actually make them win. It's a tough game to pick, but I'm still going to pick 100 Thieves on this one. I have TL beating Echo Fox. I think they just bounce back and be fine. Golden Guardians versus Clutch Gaming. Again, I just think Huni's getting smacked, and I think Haunster's going to continue that smacking of him over in the top lane. And this rest of this Golden Guardians team is just like they're on the rise. So I really want them to be a middle tier team, which is where I kind of have them sitting now. So they have to beat a team like Clutch to really prove that. Cloud9 versus FlyQuest. This is super interesting, and it basically goes to Cloud9 because Cloud9 don't really have real weaknesses. it might be in an over-aggressive play that doesn't go their way, and that potentially could happen in this game, and FlyQuest can take over from there. But FlyQuest have shown some kind of inconsistent early games, and if they don't have a late-game insurance policy, the inability to close it out, so that gives Cloud9 the edge for this one, but this is a very, very interesting game. So we have TSM versus CLG, rough schedule for CLG this week, I think, as they face two teams I have as top 4 teams. Team Solo Meta, I think, continue what they're doing. Again, I think they have the great read on the meta, and hopefully they kind of keep that going for the TSM hopeful. We move on to day 2. We have Golden Guardians versus Echo Fox. I think this is really interesting, actually. I think this could be a very hype game. Again, I keep picking Echo Fox to go 0-2, and they keep 1-1-ing. So should I be picking Echo Fox to lose like twice? It's got to happen, right? Russia's got to lose eventually. Eventually. I think so. And again, I'm picking it again for him to go 0-2 again. Plus, Golden Guards are looking pretty strong, so I think it's a pretty rough schedule for Echo Fox to continue that trend. But they keep doing it, so hey, I'm not 100% of picks. Now this is a hard game, the bottom of the basement to pick. So Clutch Gaming versus Optic. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to Clutch on this one because I know their potential is so high, whereas I feel like Optic's potential is just not as high. And again, we don't even know who's playing, so. In an ideal world, maybe I do this show right before I can get some scrim information or learn something about the teams or see what anyone's saying about them through the week or what their roster's going to look like. But at the point I always make is like, if I'm going to have to bet, if someone was like, here's free $20, just bet it on any of these two teams, I would just bet on Clutch. But that's really hard. I wouldn't bet on Clutch against any other team except for Optic here because Optic have more questions. Even though like I barely have Clutch over them on the tier list. Realistically, anyone in the same line is the same. They're both bottom tier teams, so it'll be an interesting game because they're so bad. Cloud9 versus CLG. Again, I feel like it's a rough schedule for CLG this week. Cloud9 take this one in my opinion, and probably in most people's opinions, setting up Cloud9 to continue to be 2-0 and maybe keep that second place spot. TSM versus FlyQuest. FlyQuest have such a... Oh man, FlyQuest, like, this is do or die time right now for FlyQuest. And I'm going to give the edge to FlyQuest here. Based... I don't know, this is a coin flip. Like, the only thing I kind of pick here, I say FlyQuest. Man, like, even as I'm staring at this, like, man, maybe I should be picking TSM. But it's hard. It's hard. I think I don't want to overreact to their win against Team Liquid and say, oh, they're clearly the best team here now. And if this question was asked to me before the Team Liquid game, I think I just picked FlyQuest. So based on that kind of information that I'm working with, I'm picking FlyQuest in this one. But honestly, it's a coin flip, and this is a really hype match, probably match of the week to be looking at it because while the Clutch Gaming Optic one is hard to pick because they're both bad, this is hard to pick because I think they're both good. Final game, we have Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves just haven't proved to me in any way that they're going to even touch this game. Maybe they do. I would love to see that upset. It would be a huge upset for the week, and it would be a crazy way to end the week and, you know, suddenly make the rest of the split look really interesting. So kind of rooting for 100 Thieves a little bit in this one, but I think Team Liquid pick it there. And yeah, those are the picks this week. Let me know if you disagree in the comments below. Alright, that was the show this week. Did you enjoy my Acadian impression? You don't have to tell me anything. But if you missed last week's show, you can check that one out there. You can see my reasoning on the picks, and you can call me out if I contradict myself. You can join me on different social media stuff. I'll tweet and make pictures and do stuff all about esports, mostly League of Legends. And of course, you can subscribe down there. We'll see you next week with more LCS recap. And yeah, let me know what your picks are in the comments below. This will be fun. It's a fun week. I think it'll be really interesting. See you next time.